back. I'm bringing on JD PicKell, the content king over here at On3 Sports. JD, we're going to talk about quarterbacks and the importance of bringing in an elite quarterback. Here's the top 10 QB signees. Take a look at the top 3. These elite quarterbacks are going to great programs. We don't call them programs. We call them programs that want to be elite programs. So you watch the film. How important are these arms to programs like Tennessee, Oklahoma, and Texas?
I mean, I don't think you can overstate it. You look at the teams that were in the college football playoff this past year, and all of them had great quarterbacks. I mean, Stetson Bennett at Georgia, Max Duggan at TCU, Heisman finalist, J.J. McCarthy at Michigan. Like, you just go down the list, and the common thread is always the quarterback, the quarterback, the quarterback. Josh, you and I were both at the Personnel Symposium in Nashville this past summer. Bill Polian takes the mic and talks about what you need at receiver, what you need at defensive end, and then he goes, but if you have the right quarterback, it solves the majority of your problems.
And who did he have?
He had Peyton Manning. Right. So from experience, he's speaking pretty thoroughly there. But no, I mean, all three of these guys can absolutely spin it. You look at these programs, Texas, Oklahoma, Tennessee, you and I were talking in the office yesterday, all teams that are looking to ascend to that next step. Level up, exactly, with Texas and Oklahoma heading to the SEC here in the not-too-distant future. I think it's extremely important for those teams specifically.
So the other trend when I look at this list is West Coast talent. So, JD, you're a West Coast guy.
Yeah.
Why is the West Coast the best coast when it comes to quarterbacks?
There's some bias there. I mean, if you want to get conceptual with it, the weather's good year-round. So, I mean, you can go out and spin it the same you can in December as you can in August. But I think some of it has to do with the 7-on-7 culture is really emphasized there as well as it is in Texas and, you know, other places in the Southeast. So is there, you know, a special ingredient on the West Coast? I don't know. I mean, like I said, from a bias standpoint, there's a lot of really great programs there that have a history of putting out great quarterbacks, like the Modern Days, the St. John Boscos. I mean, Long Beach Poly even has put out a lot of great talent. But as a whole, I think it really does come down to development and what you're doing outside of just your high school.
Vitamin D.
Crucial.
D for development.
D for development, man. Gotta have it.
Dante Moore is headed to UCLA, and at one point he was committed to Oregon. That was a crazy, kind of wild finish there. Oregon bounced back with Austin Novosad, a quarterback that you were very familiar with because he was committed to your alma mater, Baylor.
Yeah.
So you were watching him. What do you think of Oregon's bounce back with Austin Novosad?
Yeah, Austin Novosad, a guy who, whenever it comes to the recruiting side of things, like you can watch the tape, and Charles Power, directing of scouting and rankings for On3, does a phenomenal job at that. I think when I'm looking at his recruiting, I'm looking at who else was after this guy. And Ohio State, a place that has just churned out first-round picks, made a pretty strong push, it sounds like, to get Austin Novosad to be a Buckeye. So for him to eventually end up at Oregon, I think it just speaks to, you know, his acumen and his talent, and he's someone who I think is going to have a chance to contribute here pretty early after Bo Nix decides to leave for the NFL.
Not a bad backup plan if you're Oregon, going from Dante Moore, that's a big blow, but landing in Austin Novosad just shows you how on point Oregon's recruiting staff is and ready for anything. These guys got to compete still, though. All 10 of these guys, they still got to compete. Nothing is given. How important is it for a program like an Ohio State who churns out quarterbacks to find somebody that wants to compete like a Lincoln Kienholz?
I think it's huge. It's in the day and age of player mobility where if I'm not playing, I can go to the next school right away to run towards competition. You see all these programs across the board that play meaningful games in late December, in January. They all have depth. And I think what we're not talking about enough is Austin Novosad and Lincoln Kienholz, those guys that are probably not going to play day one, they're going to give a look on the scout team. And by a result, they're going to make that first-team defense a lot better. I mean, you get better seeing Lincoln Kienholz spin the pill during 7-on-7, during, you know, your red zone period. So stuff like that, having that still high caliber of talent where maybe it's a scout team, but you still got a big-time quarterback spinning the rock. I think that's going to pay dividends for them on Saturday.
Yeah, and Ohio State, yes, they recruit elite talent, but you also got to get guys like Kienholz who want to run towards the competition, whereas there's a lot of guys in the transfer portal that are running away from competition.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
All right. Thanks for joining me, JD. This gives signing day vibes. I know we're 2 weeks away. We're going to be right back here for signing day doing another live show. I'm really excited about it.
Can't wait, man. Appreciate you having me on. I'll see you when the ink dries.
February 1st.
Let's do it.
See ya. Thank you for watching. Make sure you smash that subscribe button for me. And remember to check out all the videos on the On3 YouTube page.